Well, moving on to mental health, because as you know, sports and mental health do go hand in hand. Yeah, actually, you are a massive advocate for mental health with your project Elephant in the Room. Tell us a bit more about this.
Yeah, I just wanted something that symbolised hope and permission that it wasn't weak to speak, because in my era, especially in a sort of a macho sport like rugby, you felt it was weak to speak. And I couldn't turn to aspiring young All Black players and say I'm struggling with my anxiety or depression or anything like that, because I just felt that I would be considered as less of a man, because being a man in those days was all being about physically strong and powerful and aggressive. As a rugby player, it wasn't about being able to deal with things. I could never tie the thread between looking after my mental health and making that a priority as much as I did my physical health. I knew to go to the gym to get fitter. I knew to run and train and all that. I just didn't know how. I was never taught to look after my mental health. And it's the same when I say to men, especially now, I said, we need to make mental health a priority in our lives. We need to put as much work into our mental health when we're having down days as we put into our physical health. But we still don't get there.
Well, I know you put a lot of work into Elephant in the Room, and it's now broadened, like you help organisations with it.
Yeah.
How has the feedback been like from organisations who've now adapted this programme?
Metrics have been brilliant. Yeah. We're now getting out for the Kyne Foundation and Cornmarket into the schools. We're going to donate 30 or 40 elephants into school this year. It's the start of a project to get them out to the school, so that when somebody comes into school on the first day or in the last day at school, or when exam stress and all these things, they see an elephant in their school and they know they're in a place where somebody cares about their mental health. And that's a symbol for me, because I would have wanted to see an elephant. They've only got to go up and look at the elephant, and they're beautifully decorated. The works of art, they're 6 foot high, and people go up to them in the corporate order and they look at the little print and they look at the plaque on the front of it. Just says, you're in a place where it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to share what's going on, because in my world, and people like me, or people that are struggling, it all starts with a conversation with someone. Find a colleague, find a friend, find a parent, find a sibling, but find someone to talk to, because men in particular only approach mental health at crisis stage.
Yeah.
And that's a real worry for men out there, because suicide remains the biggest killer of men under 50, but we don't like to talk about it.
And
the elephant in the room.
You had an interesting stat with that, women have a lot of mental health struggles. Yep. Yet the male suicide rate is much higher, because they don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it. So I'm always saying to guys, what's the difference? 80% of the people that will take their own lives next year will be men. Why? Because we're not talking about it. Or we're talking about it when it becomes too late. See, men get stuck. Men get stuck like me, get stuck in a circle, and they don't think there's any way out of it. So they start thinking about a permanent solution to a temporary problem. But I'm not there to say, look, if you can get help, if you can get to talk to one person, you can save a life. Well, you can save your own life. You just get talking. And that's what it's about. That's what the elephant in the room is, because in conversation, if I say to you, the elephant in the room, everybody has an elephant. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily need to be around the big three you talk about mental health, which is anxiety and depression, suicidal ideology. No. What is affecting you every day when you're mental health? Is it a gender issue? Is it a culture issue? Is it a weight issue? Is it a grief issue? Whatever it is that's affecting you negatively, that is your elephant. So what I'm saying out there with the elephant in the room, stop. Let's start talking about those elephants. Let's have kids going to their teachers and say, I'm struggling with exam. Yeah. I'm struggling with being bullied at school. I'm struggling with being bullied at home. Whatever it is, get it out there. Talk to someone. Please talk to someone. Please talk to someone. I keep saying, because I didn't have the ability to talk to someone.
So then let me ask you, Brent, what gave you the courage then and the strength to actually open up about your own struggles? What made you want to be transparent and honest?
Because I wanted to give something back. I know that sounds a bit corny, but it's my purpose. I don't want people to struggle that I've struggled, especially through my teenage years and my younger years. Later on in life, I was able to deal with it, but I felt weak. I couldn't even go to my own father and talk about what was going on. That makes me sad. It makes me sad. So I decided at one stage, look, really stuff the judgment. I'm over the judgment, because you get all that around mental health. People don't understand. That's why I'm trying to bring greater understanding to mental health, that we all have mental health, positive and negative, and we all go through struggles in life. And we don't know what's happening in somebody else's life every day. I'm just talking about people, why not try being a bit more vulnerable with their own life? Because what you'll get is support. And I just, it's not my guilty little pleasure, but I just went on to Celebrity Get Me Out of the Jungle or something.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
UK, and Barry McGuigan was talking.
Green Elf, Barry McGuigan.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
But he was there in front of the bonfire and he was telling the story about the loss of his daughter.
Yeah.
And he started to cry. And it was a wonderful moment. But the first thing he did was after that, halfway through, he said, I'm sorry.
He's embarrassed.
That just took me, yes, that took me back to my life, because that's the first reaction that you feel. You apologise for opening up. You apologise for being more vulnerable. No, stop apologising. Be vulnerable. Just watching the Tipperary game yesterday, the young guy that scored the winning goal, he burst out in tears, and it was a good one. I thought, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Because we've got to show, we're taught all the time, show the grief in the tears. And he was just overwhelmed by the occasion. I said, that will be a memory for the rest of your life, that you were so emotionally into this game. You scored the goal. It was a lifetime dream that you got to, and you just let yourself go in that moment.
Yeah.
I thought that was wonderful.
Fantastic example. Yeah. Thank you so much, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Give it a point, every.
Yes. All the info on Elephant in the Ring can be found on elephantinthering.ie.